So I just kind of wanted to review today closing skills. So write down closing skills. We talk about different things at different times, and we talk about motivation, and we talk about lead management, we talk about prospecting, but sometimes we don't talk about the basics of the basics. So let's talk about some closing skills. So I wrote down here, closing is a natural end to a great presentation. Closing is the natural end to a great presentation. So here's a question. How great is your presentation? How well do you know the listing presentation? Do you know what to say and how to say it at the highest level? Okay? How much time are you spending practicing your listing presentation? If closing is the natural end to a great presentation, how much time are you spending with that? The second thing I wrote down here, in selling and in closing, the only no that counts is the last one before you quit. The last one before you quit. That's the only no that counts. Let me add to that.
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure. In selling and in closing, the only no that counts is the last one before you quit. So here's a question. How easy are you to stop? How easy are you to stop? Not interested in the property, not interested in buying, I'm not interested in selling. I had the house on the market, really don't want to do anything right now. Does that push you off? Are you done?
No.
Well, I got two. I got 20 people in this room.
Depends.
Depends, okay? But that's the deal. How easy are you to stop in that no? The knee-jerk no stops more people than you can shake a stick at. What's a knee-jerk no?
What?
Knee-jerk no.
First no.
Knee-jerk no is the first no. Example, you walk into Nordstrom's, you're looking around, you're walking through the racks, you touch a sweater, you touch a pair of shoes, you're moving around, salesperson comes over to you, can I help you?
No.
What do you say?
No.
No, just looking, right? That's what we call the knee-jerk no. Okay, that's the knee-jerk no. How many of you are stopped with that no? Some people are. I see some people are doing this. Some people are doing this. Some people are doing this. Third thought, if you follow the listing presentation verbatim and you're sitting in front of a pre-qualified motivated seller, the close is simple. Pre-qualified motivated seller, and you follow the presentation, the close is simple. When you haven't pre-qualified them and don't know their motivation, the close is what? Hard, difficult, impossible. Yet, what do? We keep pushing. But there's no motivation to the seller. So when there's no motivation to the seller, what do we tend to do with the price if you do get the listing? Is it go low or high?
High.
High. And do we get a long contract or a short contract?
Short.
And do we get a high commission or a low commission?
Low commission.
What are we doing to ourselves? We have to know the motivation. Now, why do we take that listing? Desperate. Okay. Why else?
The listing will generate another listing.
Yes.
The listing might generate another listing.
Right.
Okay, that's possible. Okay,
Because it's better than the alternative.
because it's better than what?
It's better than not having one.
It's better than not having one because there's more. Because if you don't have one, then you're supposed to do what? Oh! Prospecting is almost as difficult as the other P word we don't like, and that is preview.
Oh.
The P word.
The P word.
Pee-pee. Oh my gosh.
So here's another thought here in closing skills. Always ask, would you sign the contract, please? Always ask, would you sign the contract, please? And do it with a what?
Smile.
A smile. Do you guys remember something Island? Fantasy Island?
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember the show Fantasy Island?
Yeah.
And there was I forgot, Ricardo Montalban was, and he smiles, everyone, smiles, everyone. Let me ask you guys a question. Put yourself back in 7th grade, okay? Those of you that, and I don't know in other countries, but I know in America, when I was in 7th grade, they would have dances. And the dances were in the gym, basketball gym, generally. And they would have, the guys would be on one side and the girls would be on the other side. And it was a sock hop, right? Socks, because you didn't want to mess up the floor. And the guys would be, now 7th graders, 7th, what?
No
Socks?
shoes. No shoes.
No, socks.
I know you wear your socks.
Socks. Sock hop.
Oh,
Sock
that's
hop.
nice.
Learn something new there.
Wow.
1948.
Wow.
No, we have sock hop. You guys don't know sock hop?
No. You're dating yourself.
No, I'm not dating myself. You don't know about it. Dating myself is horse and buggy. What? You,
I gotcha.
say, Lydia feels me. She's got it.
Okay.
So sock hop, okay?
Okay.
All right, or whatever, just whatever you can cross over on this. So on the cross was the girls, and over here were the guys. And the music's on, and the guys are supposed to walk across and pick a young lady to dance with, right? That was the goal here. Yeah, yeah, 7th grade. 7th grade, 8th grade. So here's the deal, guys. When you would not, none of my friends, would ever walk across to ask somebody to dance with you if, I don't care if the girl was beautiful or not beautiful, you know, lovely long hair, short hair, whatever it was, if she wasn't smiling, you weren't going. Think about it, ladies. If she was smiling,
Then you go.
you would walk across, you'd take the chance. But if she wasn't smiling, now she could be sitting there dying to dance. Dying to dance. But there's not a smile on her face. And so I would ask guys and girls, you know, ask you guys. I mean, if you smile, people approached you. If you don't smile, people don't approach you. You're not approachable. So it sounds goofy about putting a smile on your face, but when you put a smile on your face, you are signaling to the world you're approachable. No smile, no approach. So think about that. Practice that smile to be more approachable, because people will approach, whether it's an open house, whether it's in the mall, whether you're selling cosmetics, whatever it is, whether you're buying cosmetics, if you've got a smile. So there's so much value just in the smile. So just a side note. Okay, that's it. I'm talking about 7th grade. We're over. Okay, so I wrote down here, when you ask a closing question, don't speak until they have spoken. You ever heard this before? Okay, bless you.
Thank you.
When asking a closing question, so be really careful on this, because it's very hard to be quiet. But it's an old saying, he or she who speaks next loses. Okay? So I've asked the question, would you sign the contract, please? Big smile.
Okay.
Okay, science.
Gotta think about it.
Right.
See, what's interesting is, I'm not uncomfortable at all with that. But were you guys uncomfortable?
No.
Yes.
Little bit, huh? That silence is uncomfortable.
But your facial expression was nice.
That-
Like it was okay.
Yeah. Because,
I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean,
right,
no.
yeah, here, just
Sign
sign it,
Yeah.
sign it.
Uh-huh.
Do you guys get, see, because we're a little bit uncomfortable, because we're not used to this, silence is uncomfortable. So this is why they say he or she speaks next, loses. So if I'm asking you to sign the contract, please. And then I just be quiet. Now it seems like eternity, but it's not. I was really comfortable with this. More comfortable than I thought I would be, actually. But I'm kind of practiced at it, because this is what I do. I'll bet you, if you think about this, because right now, a lot of you are going on more appointments than you've ever gone on. Some you're getting, some you're not, okay? But I'll bet you're not asking, sign the contract, please. Because you're afraid of what? Rejection. And if they reject you, you'll take it personal, and you won't do the follow-up to get the listing later on. It is taking a little longer. It is, okay? It is. But we have to get through that. We have to get comfortable with that. So, next point. Always assume they're going to sign the contract at the end of your presentation. Always assume they're going to sign the contract at the end of your presentation. When some of you say to me, I'm going to show property, or I'm going to talk to a seller, what do I always correct that? What do I always say to you?
You're going to sell or you're going to show?
Are you going to sell or are you going to show? You're going to get a contract or are you just going to visit? What are you doing? Because I believe at some point, a little bit of the intention starts with you. If I walk in wanting to get a listing, I'm more apt to get the listing than if I walk in and say this is going to be just a visit. Let's have a conversation. I'm just going to go visit. Then guess what? We're going to have a visit, and if I don't get a listing, I'm going to be okay with it, and I'm not going to ask the closing questions. You guys with me on this?
Yes.
Okay? It's the little things at the margin, not the big things. Remember, it's baby steps consistently, not giant steps occasionally. Nothing we talked about yet in these 6 points was a giant step. They were all little tweaks to what we're already doing. Small, little tweaks. Smile, smile. Don't talk. Smile and don't talk. Well, let's connect that one. Okay? Smile, don't talk, and don't take no for an answer when yes is still possible. They didn't say no. They didn't throw me out. Sign the contract. Okay? You guys get me here?
Yeah.
Good. You can, I wrote down here, a great appointment is when the prospect needs the services that you have to offer, and they can see the service will help them achieve their goals. This makes the close quite simple. See, what happens is we think we need some magic objection handling words over here. And we get mad at ourselves because we don't have any magic objection handling words. When in fact, if we just did the presentation at the highest level, and what else do we need to do? We need to have confidence, and we have to have market knowledge with that confidence. Look, if I walk in and I don't know what's going on in the marketplace, and I make the best presentation in the world in words, but I don't know about any of the houses that are listed, what's my chances of getting that listing? They drop way down, right? So you've got to know what's going on in the marketplace. You've got to have seen some of the properties. You must know what's happening in the marketplace. That's part of a great presentation. Part of a great presentation is pre-qualifying script. Talking to the client, knowing what's going on. Then making the presentation, and the end to a great presentation is a natural what? What do we start with?
Close.
A natural close. I'm assuming you're going to sign the contract. I wrote down here, being a good closer is more about attitude, enthusiasm, confidence, and belief than it is about using strong words to intimidate the seller or the buyer, the prospect. What did I just say? It's more about your attitude. It's more about your approach. It's more about your confidence. Where do you get confidence from? Scripts, good.
Preview.
Preview. Where else?
Practice.
Practice. What else?
Asking questions.
Market knowledge.
Asking questions, market knowledge. Those of you that have been around for a while, do you ever get frustrated that you're not beyond where you are?
Yes.
Yes.
Any of you that haven't been around for a while ever get frustrated that you aren't further along?
Yes.
You know how to fix that?
Massive action.
Massive action doing,
Prospect.
Prospecting, skills, the role playing.
before the prospecting, know what to say and how to say it.
Skills.
Practice.
Where you get frustrated, in my opinion, is that you go into action before you have some of the skills, and then you fall on your face because that's part of the deal, okay? And then, when you don't have the answers, you're embarrassed. When somebody asks you about what's going on in the neighborhood and you don't know, you're what?
Embarrassed.
Embarrassed. If you don't know what to say and how to say it at a decent level, you're what?
Embarrassed.
If you get embarrassed enough, you're not going to do that again, are you?
Nope.
You're not. That's the problem at the base level, the entry level, and it's the problem at the next level wanting to go to the next level. Get it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I wrote down here, be sure you close a minimum of 5 times. Why? I know, Neil said so. You heard it in a Mike, you heard it in a Mike Ferry seminar once. Why 5 times? You've heard me do a sales meeting here just in the last 10 weeks. I know this, where I shared with you a Harvard study. Harvard and Stanford did a study. Okay, 2 pretty good schools, right?
Yeah.
All right. They did a study and they found that it's on the 4th and 5th no that the yeses start to come out. On the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th no is when you get the yeses. And where do we tend to stop?
1.
Most people, 50% of all stops on the first knee-jerk no. No? Well, no. You guys get this?
Yes.
Could any of this help?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay, good. All right. I wrote down here, you have to believe in your own value. As a salesperson, to get the customer to believe in your value as a salesperson, okay? As the value to the customer, as your value to the customer increases, the close becomes easier. If you have credibility, the close is easier, right? If you're referred to a client, is the close easy? If getting a listing easier or harder?
Easier.
You're referred to a client, it's a little easier, right? Yes. Why? You've been referred to them. They've been told you're good at what you're doing. They told that you do good customer service. They're told you good follow-up, right?
Yes.
Okay, so those are the best leads. The interesting thing is, where do you get those referrals from?
Database.
Past client sphere of influence. Who do you generally not call? Hey! It's crazy, isn't it? We make ourselves not. Those are the best leads. If your friend calls your friend and says, look, talk to Susie, talk to Mary, talk to Louie, talk to Johnny, and you go there, you know you're 3/4 of the way sold. In fact, it's your deal to screw up. It's your deal. If you don't screw it up, it's your deal in 75% of the cases. Isn't that interesting?
Yep.
And we don't call those people and do that. So let's say it's not a referral. How do we raise that possibility of them seeing more value in us? By asking questions, by
Doing the pre-qualification.
doing the pre-qualification, which is asking more questions and listening to the answers. Good. What else?
The knowledge and the confidence that we
The
have.
knowledge, the confidence, and that comes from
Practicing
Practice.
scripts and
practicing the scripts and what?
Previewing.
Previewing! By the way, has anybody counted how many questions I've asked in the last 15 or 20 minutes?
A lot.
A lot, right? And all I'm doing, I have a line, and then I just, so tell me about that, what's about this, and how's this, and where does it go, and let's talk around. You have to be able to do that. I can't sit here and tell you, you're not going to hear me. But if I ask you and get you in the process, this whole thing tends to change a little bit, doesn't it?
Yep.
Another question. So when will you start practicing that? Okay, so we have 1.5 people that are going to do that.
When would be a good time to start?
So two more quick points. Ask for the order at least one more time than you're comfortable with. That's a challenge to you. Ask for the order, the signature, the appointment, the order. One more time than you're comfortable. You normally ask 1, ask 2. You normally ask 2 or 3, ask 4. Just start checking them off on a piece of paper in front of you. Okay, whatever your normal number is, just go one more time. It's going to change your business this week. Just ask one more time. I wrote that down. The second thought is, remember to believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself, the objections tend to drop. Now, I don't want it to, remember I say your ego's not your amigo, okay? Don't go in selling yourself and I'm the best, I'm the wonderful, I'm. That's not what I'm talking about. But go in with confidence, knowledge, ask questions, believe in yourself. The reason we don't have confidence and believe in ourselves is because we haven't previewed property. We haven't studied the scripts. We don't know what to say and how to say it at the highest level. We don't know how to ask questions or more questions. We don't challenge ourselves a little bit more. But let's take this week. Let's focus on this week. Let's preview a few more properties. Let's ask one more question. Let's ask for the order one more time. And I'm telling you, you're going to come out with a much better week, a lot more business, and feeling a lot better about yourself. Now let's go out and make this happen. Thank you very much.